This could be the story of heartbreak. It could be the story of shattered dreams and unanswered questions. It could be the story of helplessness and despair. But instead, it is the story of hope.
There's something special about a mother watching her daughter grow up, sharing those tender cuddles with her as a child, and watching her take those first unsteady steps as a toddler, experiencing the bittersweet joys of dropping her off at school for her first day of kindergarten. And of course, what mother can forget bandaging up the scraped knees and kissing away the bumps and the bruises. For 13 idyllic years, this was my experience with my daughter Summer. But on Memorial Day weekend 2002, something happened that no mother's kiss could fix. It was a lovely spring day. Winter had passed and the sun was shining beautiful, and it was just a day that was filled with joy and laughter. It was a day that only joy should blossom. But instead, without warning, Summer suffered a cerebral hemorrhage which resulted in a stroke, and I was stunned and terrified as I held her in my arms. And I was wondering, would this be the day, right as she was on the cusp of womanhood, that I would lose my daughter?
Paramedics raced to the house and scrambled to save Summer, whose young body hung in a frightening shadowland between life and death. With her mother at her side, an unresponsive Summer was rushed to the pediatric hospital. Unconscious and limp, Summer was placed into a medically induced coma as doctors ran test after test. What had caused this otherwise healthy child to suffer such a devastating attack?
Summer's world and ours had changed forever. The hospital became our second home, and the doctors determined that emergency surgery would be needed. And 8 weeks of grueling physical, speech, occupational therapy followed. We were finally beginning to catch our breath and wondering if the worst was behind us. Just after the first anniversary of her stroke, Summer experienced her first grand mal seizure.
Their world was once again turned upside down as Summer was swept back into a seemingly endless series of medical tests that led, ultimately, to another brain surgery.
I'll admit, it seemed at times as if God was silent. He was silent to Summer's suffering, He was silent to my heartache, and He was silent to my family's enduring pain. But the answer to every question that I brought before God was, I am with you. My husband says you can either run from God or to Him. I couldn't choose to take away Summer's illness, but I could choose to lean into God harder than I ever had before, to trust His word more fully, and to embrace His love completely. So really, Summer's story isn't about tragedy or heartache or illness at all. It's a story of hope, because it's a story of God's faithfulness.
With more on this moving story of faith and hope, please welcome the author of A Summer Story, Summer's mother, LaQuita Propes.